Welcome back to my channel. It's Tina of Tina's Country Door. In this video, I've got a wood project that I want to share with you. A video back, I showed where we made a plant propagation station for my daughter because she's a plant enthusiast. That is her profession. She's a manager at a greenhouse, and she's got plants that she's propagating right now, but they were in cups. So we thought that it would be a great idea to make her a couple propagation stations for Christmas. And my husband got a walnut block and a pine block that we have, and he planed them and used a drill press to make holes in them. And then I ordered vials off of Amazon to put in the holes for her to put her plants in to propagate. In the previous video, I showed how I stained the walnut board using polyurethane. And I will put a link to that video in the description if you want to go back and watch that. I hadn't stained the pine block yet because I wasn't sure what color I wanted to stain it. And just talking to my daughter on a roundabout way, I found out that she would like she likes the dark stains. So I'm going to use a Jacobine stain from Minwax. It's an oil-based stain. And then after it dries, I will be sealing it with the Minwax polyacrylic finish. So I want to show you I will be doing this different than I did the walnut board. But with this one, I'm going to be doing it different because it's a different kind of stain. Polyurethane is different than the wood stain. One thing that I've worried about with staining the pine block is sometimes where it's porous, the pine can end up being blotchy. So I did a test on the bottom of the block to make sure that I would like the way it turned out, and it turned out pretty good. So I decided to go ahead and do the rest of the block. If you're worried about that, there are conditioners out there that you can use before you put on the wood stain, but I'm not going to do that because, like I said, I did a test on the bottom and it's fine. And even if it turns out looking a little more rustic looking, showing the different grains, that's fine because that's our style, that's her style. So we like the rustic look. So I'm not worried about prepping it before I stain it. So I'm going to bring you down and show you what I've got and how I'm going to do this. So here's the pine block that I'm going to be staining using the Minwax wood finish. With this one, I think it's going to be easier because with the other one, I used a paintbrush. And with this one, I'm just using, this is a piece of a t-shirt that I tore off. And I'm just going to soak this, get some stain on it, and wipe it on there. And you want to make sure you follow the grain of the wood. And then I'll wait 5 to 15 minutes to come back and wipe the excess stain off. And then it doesn't take long for this to dry. The only thing about this is the odor from this is stronger than the polyurethane, so you want to make sure that you're wearing a respirator mask or something. Oh, I want to show you the bottom where I already stained it. See, that's what it's going to look like, and that's what I'm talking about when I talk about blotchy. It's just where those knots are and they're darker than the rest, and I'm not worried about that because that just makes it look more rustic, and that's what we like. So I'm going to put on my respirator mask and get started staining. stain wood using a stain like this, the longer you leave the stain on the wood, the darker it will get, because the more it will penetrate the wood. That's why I say you leave it on 5 to 15 minutes. I went on ahead and I wiped off the excess after I finished this side, because by the time I got over to this side after staining all the sides, it had been on there long enough and it was dark enough for me. I didn't want it any darker than it already is. So that's why I went on ahead and I wiped it all off. Now, with this, you want to make sure before you start staining that you have cleaned the wood, not with any water. You do not want to wet the wood. You do not want the wood wet. But take a tacky cloth or a piece, a rag like an old t-shirt, and wipe it down to get any sawdust or any particles or anything off of it. Make sure you lay something down on the table, because this stuff is messy, and if it gets on whatever, it will stain it. Make sure you wear clothes that you don't care about, because once you get it on your clothes, then that's it. You won't be able to get it out. Now I'm going to let this sit overnight, and I will come back tomorrow and I will seal it with the polyacrylic. I'll come back. Here is the finished pine propagation station. With this, I was going to use polyacrylic to seal it, but then I decided to go with the polyurethane because my polyacrylic was matte. And I didn't realize that when I first started. I want it to have a glossy shine like the walnut propagation station does. It's only got one coat of polyurethane on it, and this is what it looks like. I'm so happy with them. That's the walnut one back there. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you haven't already, please follow my channel and click the bell to get notified when I post more videos. Give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that so much. And I'll leave the links in the description to anything that I used in the video. I'll also leave links to my other social media sites for you to check out and follow me there. Until next time, bye everyone.